plan out their round essentially. So we'll introduce the athletes, and then shortly after that, they'll turn around and go through block by block and kind of assess what it is that they think they're going to have to do. And then because they get a 2-minute viewing period, they'll have a 4-minute climbing period instead of the usual 5-minute climbing period. So it does keep the action kind of rolling that little bit faster. But they'll have a little bit more of a wider view as to the potential methods to complete the boulder, having discussed it all together as a group.
Yeah, and one of the great things about climbing is that, you're climbing against the boulder problem, and, you do discuss it together as a group of athletes, which is kind of unique in the sport, really, when it comes to competition. So it's awesome to see. But we've got all of our athletes coming out now, folks, and you can see they're all fairly young these days, Campbell. I think sometimes when you're sort of mid-20s and above, we seem to be, maybe I'm talking for myself, a little bit beyond the competition scene these days, the young, strong ones coming through, but you seem to be certainly handling that in your world for sure, which is great to see. But there's some nice, very strong young athletes here today. And
we've got our first athletes coming out ready to step up to the field of play. We've got Sam Lavender and Clea Hall, both from Queensland. Both, wealth of experience. Sam with a few more finals under his belt, and this will be Clea's first final at a senior national level.
And she's done pretty well at the state level, but great to see her getting to the national level. All right, Sam's off. Started his first boulder problem, looking quite nice, moving fairly smoothly. Clea also started quite well.
Nice little foot first sequence. We saw a foot first sequence for the men's in semi-finals that was really tricky for some of the athletes. And it's nice to see the same thing coming around for the women.
Sam's still on the wall.
Making pretty
first attempt.
Short work of this so far, but not quite enough to nab that finish hold. So athletes do need to grab the last hold in control with two hands to be awarded the top. So that's something to watch for going through in the rest of the round.
Yep, and the top hold's orientated in a way that you just need to get a little bit higher on it. I can sort of see you can't sort of hit it at the bottom. The dish is a little bit higher, a bit more positive. Sam just hitting the sloper a little bit low on that. So you would think he'd get up to that high point again. Knows the boulder problem. Clea needs to find a way through this first part. She hasn't made the zone yet, but it's the first part of the boulder problem that gets you some points. So Clea doing the foot first sequence. Much nicer this time, keeping your feet on the wall. Into the nice, making the zone, so that's good. We've got Sam taking his time to get back on the wall. And how do you manage your time, Campbell? Like, these athletes, so once you've got, to basically the top move, then Sam's probably resting and giving it the next go, the good go. Is that what you do? Do you sort of take the time, watch the clock?
Yeah, 100%. So first things first, having had viewing before, you've seen the boulders, you have an idea of what you want to do. So you want to get on the wall pretty quickly, not wasting too much time. In Sam's case, he's done all the moves but one, and it's really just going to be a matter of how much energy he's got left when he gets to that last move. So we'll likely see him run the clock down quite far and get onto the wall with maybe only enough time for one attempt. Maybe he can pull back on if he has an early slip, but he wants to be as fresh as possible. Clea, on the other hand, still has a little bit more of the sequence to figure out. So we'll see her giving a few more attempts, but 4 minutes is not a super long period of time. So they haven't got a whole lot to work with.
Now, if you've ever thought that doesn't look that hard, 4 minutes is a long time, folks. Get your stopwatch out next time you're at the Boulder gym and give it a whirl. Sam in that pinch there. Now, those holds are they're large, but they're not as positive as you want them to be at this last move again. He's been here before. He knows what he needs to do. Just not getting high enough on that last piece.
Yeah, those pinches, it's the kind of texture that wears out quite fast. So if they're fresh, they can be pretty sticky, but I would hazard a guess that these have been around in the gym for a little while now. Clea still figuring out this first sequence, but it looks like she's just out of time, unfortunately, for that one. So we'll see our next athletes start to make their way out onto the mats shortly for their 4-minute climbing period.
All right, our next two competitors out on the mats. Yeah.
Louis Fischel and Rose Marlon.
Let's see if these guys can work out the sequence. Decent crowd here as well, getting behind the athletes.
Louis able to make that first move a little bit more static than we saw with Sam.
Rose moving pretty quickly through to the foot sequence, just making sure she establishes the zone, which is good. Louis up to the zone as well.
Rose is one of Australia's top outdoor climbers. She has some pretty impressive ascents out on rock, so it's not unexpected to see her performing well on the more sort of traditional power-based boulders. Louis making really short work of his flash on men's one.
Rose up to this last move here. Nice. Very physical push up into that overhead small hold there. Nothing really to hold on to, more like an overhead press.
Yeah, she had to squeeze herself into quite a small box for that move, and then it's quite an awkward movement up to the last hold. And like you said, you have to, rather than just being able to grab the hold, you have to kind of make a press into the final hold. Lots of core tension, pushing really hard until you can push high enough that you can establish both hands on the last hold.
And you really got to trust in those feet as well. You know, that's the thing with especially the volumes on the wall, folks. You could see quite rather large angled boxes sticking out from the wall. The route setters use those to change the shape and the geography of the wall, which is fantastic. They're a reasonably new innovation to the climbing scene back in my day, showing my age, but they were usually pretty flat and nothing going on. But these days the volumes really bring a new dimension to the route setting.
Yeah, and there's definitely been quite the evolution in how volumes have been used, and you've seen a lot of variations in not only shape and size, but texture as well. So we'll see some boulders will have certain sections that have no texture, so it's a little bit harder to stand on or grab them, as opposed to the other sections, as we can see in this hold that Rose has right now, textured on the top and slick underneath. And she has a little bit more of an idea of what it is that she wants to do this time round, but still not quite able to squeeze herself into that small box as would be necessary to figure out that last sequence. But she's going to have just enough time for probably one more good attempt.
Yeah, it can seem one-dimensionally or two-dimensionally on the screen that it doesn't look that physical, but when you see the angle and the holds that they need to hold on to, or the body positions, they're quite physical. So, you know, Rose going to rest up now. And, you know, Kev, when you're sort of looking at this, you leave yourself 30, 40 seconds, you know, depending on the climb, what's
on
what's
average,
a bit of strategy?
a comp boulder is going to take about 30 to 40 seconds. Once you know the sequences, like Rose does, she's not going to need too much time to get to that last move, but it's still worth leaving a little bit of time to figure out that last sequence that she hasn't quite nailed down. It's going to be different for every boulder. Some boulders can be over in less than 10. This one's sort of in the middle, I would say. It's not super long, but there's definitely some sequencing to figure out along the way.
And sometimes the clock gives that little bit of extra adrenaline for the buzzer beater finish, but not today for Rose.
Yeah, really nice work through the zone there, but yeah, not quite enough for a top on that one. So I'll be interested to see how the next climbers are able to get on with the women's boulder. And yeah, in the men's, super quick flash from Louis. which kind of establishes this block as potentially a must-do in this round, or at least a must zone. You know, both Sam and Louis were able to make pretty quick work of getting to that zone. So
the zones as
be
well.
an important block going through the rest of the round.
Well, we've got Dylan and Claire about to start their competition as well. Early days though, folks, but the tension's already building. You can feel it in the crowd, and the competitors certainly, like Campbell said, want to make sure they get some early points on the board to stay in contention for.
Claire's definitely a very technical but also quite powerful climber.
Very strong,
very precise in a lot of her movements.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Very quick.
She's a climber I quite enjoy to watch. Oh, a slightly different sequence there with a press rather than pinching that high grade volume. And super close from Dylan there, very similar to what we saw from Sam earlier. So he'll take that zone, and both athletes will take their zones in one attempt.
In one attempt. Well, and sometimes first go, best go, Campbell. Hopefully that's not the case here. Both of them have really gotten to the last move in their first attempt, so you'd think that they'd probably rest up a little and give themselves plenty of time to and recovery to get that final move done.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a prime example of what I was saying before. Dylan he's done everything but grab the last hold, so he needs to be super fresh for his next go. He might potentially run the clock the whole way down. Claire still has a little bit to solve at that end sequence, so she might get on the wall a little bit sooner, because there is the chance that she won't figure out exactly what it is that she needs to do straight away, and she'll have to have maybe another attempt, or it might take her a little bit longer on the wall. There's a few different potential sequences you can take for this first block for the women. So yeah, as I expected, Claire's pulling on that little bit sooner than we'll see Dylan.
Yeah, like you said, moving through very accurately with precise movements, and very strong in that foot first sequence under the roof. Let's see if she can work out this now.
Yeah, so she's eyed up that right hand pinch rather than pressing down on the lower hold, but now having a little bit of trouble getting her feet up. Now we're seeing her in the same position we saw Rose in earlier, struggling to fit into that tiny little box that she has to squeeze herself into.
Bit of hip flexibility needed in that move by the look of it. Maybe not working as well as she would want it to. But Dylan back
Very few issues for Dylan making his way back up to the zone. Looking super strong on his pinches. And again, coming just shy of that last hold, which we saw Louis earlier make really quick work of. But yeah, not quite able to piece it together just yet. He might have enough time for one more go if he'd like, or he might choose to step back. We'll wait and see.
And it seems to be very strong and heavy on that right heel hook. And if you can get that in, it doesn't look such a great hold to be heel hooking on, but if you get that nice and stable, it gives maybe a little bit more height for Dylan there. But Claire very quickly moving through, trying to stay really efficient for this last go for her.
Yeah, it really doesn't look like this boulder is too much trouble for her up until this last move. Slightly different attempt at that sequence, but I think both athletes just falling short of the energy that they needed remaining to finish those boulders off.
Well, the zones, like you said, Campbell, seem to be achievable pretty quickly on these two first boulder problems, but top's a little bit elusive. Only one top so far. All right, Marlo and Judith out next.
Judith is probably she's our oldest athlete in the final today, and she also has quite a wealth of experience. She was in the category above me when we were youth athletes, so grew up knowing her. Lots of national titles under her belt, some international competitions as well. She took part, both Marlo and Judith actually took part in the Continental Olympic qualifier last year in November. So lots of experience from both these athletes. I think this is a definitely a breakthrough performance from Marlowe so far. We had a training camp recently where he was looking super strong, and it's nice to see that he's kind of living up to that potential in tonight's or in this morning's semi-final, and hopefully tonight's final as well.
Yeah. All right, both of them looking strong so far. Only a few moves into the boulder problems though. Judith making this own. Same with Marlowe pretty quickly to the pinches. This is where the business end of this boulder problem occurs. A bit of a taller climber in this one.
Yeah, he's able to keep that tension on the hold under the roof. And so close to sticking that last hold. I think again he'll probably take some time and hopefully be able to give it more for the last move. And Judith tackling this tricky little press sequence for the end of the women's block right now.
Judith a bit taller as well. Might be a little bit more challenging to fit in that box, like you said.
For sure, I think height can be both an advantage and a disadvantage, and I think in the instance of the last sequence of the women's boulder, being a little bit smaller is definitely going to make it easier to fit into that space. But every athlete, has the same boulder at the end of the day, and you have to learn how to use your own strengths and weaknesses to your advantage to finish off the blocks.
Yeah, well, Marlowe looked pretty comfortably there in that first attempt. I thought he was going to do, that quite nicely, but just maybe slipping off or just running out of the right body position in that top move. But hopefully he can repeat that pretty quickly and get himself a top here. The crowd has gone dead silent, holding their breath for him, that's for sure. But both athletes back on the wall now.
Not a whole lot of rest for Judith. She's back on pretty quickly, considering we saw her take a little bit longer on the wall than Marlowe. I think Marlowe was quite efficient through the boulder. Didn't really look like it was giving him too much trouble. But yeah, I think we saw maybe Judith a little bit tired from her previous attempt and not having quite enough rest.
He's up right now. He's got to match it. There we go, top, folks.
Top in 2 attempts for Marlowe.
Looking good. And Judith really, in the semis as well, really putting in a mammoth effort. It was very physical. And I saw her all the way down to the wire on a couple of the boulder problems as well. So maybe that little bit of that physicalness showing up right now, but she's got to put that behind her and throw down everything she needs to do or can in this attempt.
Judith's special skill as an athlete, I would say, is the capacity with which she's able to fight on the wall. You often see Judith screaming her way through boulders, and she really gives it everything, which is super exciting to watch. But sometimes can leave you a little bit flat if you have a hard round like we saw in the women's semi-final this morning.
Yeah, well, she's got time, but does she have the energy left in the tank for this boulder problem? It's quite physical underneath here with that foot first sequence. Getting it a little bit easier through there. Oh, just failing to get that heel in. Judith leaving a little bit of time on the clock. Smart decision as an athlete. When do you call it quits on the mat, Campbell? Do you throw everything at it? Like, sometimes there's a little bit of strategy involved as well when it comes to this sort of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. An old coach of mine, we worked on, because the most important thing to remember when you're out in the field is that it's only worth pulling on if you can score points. You don't get extra points for getting back to where you were the first time round. So if you already have the zone and you don't have enough time to score the top, well, then there's no point pulling back on. Whereas if you don't have the zone yet and you have a limited period of time, maybe you can improve your score by getting back on the wall. But it's also worth noting that there's an advantage to, stepping back, taking that extra rest time, not being an extra attempt, more tired than you need to be. Sometimes competition bouldering can be as much about choosing when not to try as it is about trying as hard as you can. You do sometimes have to take a step back and save your energy for a better attempt later.
Good advice, but these two athletes need to bring all their energy right now. This is their first attempt. Got Maxim and Summer. Both of them climbed very well in the semis. be up in the top 3 spots on the way in for the finals. Maxim blistering in the qualifiers, flashed all 4 boulders, I think it was. But in
yeah,
the semis,
he was really impressive in qualifications. I think both of these athletes have maintained provisional podium positions through both qualifiers and semifinals. And both Summer and Max were on the podium of last year's Bouldering Nationals. So definitely a couple of athletes to watch.
Yep. I do know there's a bit of a local scene, hard training scene here in WA called the Gumba Shed, and Max and a few of the locals hang out there. So maybe we're seeing a little bit of that training pay off for Max and Aiden. But Max looking good, finding this sequence fairly straightforward. A bit
Max
taller.
really likes pinchy, slopey boulders. And I think he left his feet behind. He is that little bit taller than the other athletes, left his feet underneath the roof, and it was a little bit more momentum than he could handle when he took that last hold. So we'll see him at the moment with 1 zone and 2 attempts, which puts him a little bit behind the other athletes. But if he's able to finish the round off with a top on that boulder, then it could be a different game.
Yep. Summer already got the zone in her first attempt, so now it would be probably a good idea for her to sort of rest and give it one good whirl. Clock's ticking down. Minute 46, but plenty of time, that's for sure. Max's attempt, I'm sure he'll learn pretty quickly from that last attempt. And like you said, Campbell, get those legs a little bit higher so that the momentum doesn't take him off the wall. That top hold isn't as positive as you might want it to be. So let's see what Summer's got. Now, Summer's a little bit shorter, so maybe this sequence might be a little bit tougher, but maybe that top sequence might work a little bit easier for her. We'll see if she can get to that next sequence.
She looks like she's maybe not quite confident in her finger strength for that move, but she's established the zone now and fallen unfortunately just short of that next slot. But yeah, she wasn't quite able to lock down on that crimp in the way that she might want to. Max is back on the wall, and he looks a little nervous in his first couple of attempts. I know that this national title is definitely something that he will have his sights on. So I'm sure there is a little bit of nerves and anxiety going into this round for him, but hopefully he'll
left his legs low again, and that momentum's taking him away, Campbell.
Yeah, and he's quite a flexible athlete as well. His high step is really impressive, so it's unusual, I think, to see him not utilizing that skill.
Maybe he's not seeing it. Maybe a little bit of nervousness, like you said, or pressure. But hopefully he can sort that out. Doesn't have time to, though. The clock counting down, 15 seconds, not going to be. So there you go.
He goes fast. He goes so fast, especially coming from 5 minutes. The difference between 5 minutes and 4 minutes for a boulder might not seem like much, but when you're on the mats, it's a whole attempt, or it's a whole rest period, or time to brush the hole. You lose that flow and you come out for finals, and it's this different game.
Well, certainly Aiden threw it down in the semis, Maya as well, and so these are our top position finalists, and let's see how they handle this first boulder problem.
Absolutely. We've got our defending champion from the last 2 years, Maya Stazic from Victoria, and Aiden Young of the local hero Portside.
Yeah, Portside regular. Now, we saw Maya bring out the little foot mat. Do you always do that, Campbell? Is there certain things that you take on the boulder mat with you, or is it just straight out and get it done?
A mat or a towel can be important, particularly if the mats are vinyl, whereas these we've got carpeted mats, so it's a little bit less of the dirt and chalk and whatnot sticks to your shoes. But yeah, so far, both athletes actually making pretty good work of this. Aiden falling off just shy of that second last hold, and Maya, our first female athlete, we're seeing sort of get close to sticking that last move, but first attempt for both athletes, so plenty of time ahead for them. But yeah, having a towel or something to clean off your shoes can be quite important, depending on the venue and depending on sort of what your process is.
Yeah, bit of a heartbreaker there. Sometimes the distance between the zone and the top can be quite a distance, and it's a bit of a heartbreaker to put all that effort in, not to hold the final hold, and that's part of understanding, your own condition or your own level where you are at the competition. Whether you should give it a good whirl because you think you're going to get to the top, or like Campbell said before, maybe back off and say, all right, well, I'll save that skin and that effort for the next one because the top's maybe elusive. But they are looking good, getting to this position pretty quickly. And the crowd's pretty keen to see a top, and I'm sure Mayer is keen to make a top two looking nice. Oh, come on. Oh,
She's,
wow.
Looking good, and we see our first top in the women's field. Again, Maya Stazic showing exactly why she's the defending national champion.
Fantastic. Well, there you go, folks. That's how it's done. And Aiden's still got some time on the clock, 1:50, plenty of time to do it. And all eyes on him. He was struggling to get to that last pinch there, so twice has come off at that section. Maybe he's worked out a different sequence, but give himself a little bit more time, resting up, not rushing it. Smart play.
Aiden is coming off the back of a short but successful international season. Australia was allowed to send some athletes to the European Cups this year, so he was able to score a semi-final placing at one of the European Cups in Bouldering. So he's sort of been able to show that he's in shape after a pretty significant finger injury last year that he came off of. I know he's been working really, really hard to come back from that one, and it certainly looks like he's pieced together a lot of those weaknesses, and he's definitely looking in good form at this event.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he's turned it on in the semis, and let's see what he can do in this final right now. Got that pinch. Oh, here we go. Come on. That's showing some amazing strength. Such a high foot.
I think, some of the other athletes we saw picking that move, when they placed the right heel on the lower pinch, they were able to sort of cam their toe into the pinch above. Which is how flush do the volumes sit against the wall? Am I able to crimp the edges? Sometimes the edges of the volume might chip, and there's a little
bit of a sort of a 1-2 paddle from this one here, maybe. And it's certainly a newer style over the last sort of 3-5 years. More parkour-y type boulder problems coming into the competition scene, Campbell. Louis and Rose out on the mats again now, and Louis very quickly threw a top down on the first one. So let's see what he can do on this slab problem here. Well, I don't want to looking great. Well, I don't want to do the commentator's curse, but he is certainly looking good at this moment in time. It's a long way, and there he is. You can see him getting his fingernails behind the volume, folks, and that's what the route setters were trying not to have happen a bit lower. But oh wow, Louis out and the flat. Different thing, and what would how would you approach this? A little bit more body leg swing, a little bit higher. What? Oh, and she static that. Wow. I saw the route setters trying to stop that, and she just broke the beta.
And seeing Rose, so far she's just grabbing that first hold, so not quite sure what we're going to see from her if she's going to, so she's crossing through on that attempt and trying to catch the compression a little bit further to the left.
It'd be more maybe a match on that first hold and then double clutch to the next move. Maybe it seems very strong and quite committing up there off the mats.
For sure. I think there's, a few different sequences or a few different ways that you could tackle this last move. I think the real crux of it is that you've only got one hand to really establish the swing and to generate from. So you haven't got a lot in the way of directional capacity, I guess, to sort of swing yourself in the right direction that you need for that next move.
Well, she's got the zone move down pat, and it's just this next one here, just getting enough body momentum to get herself moving towards those holds. Not to be 30 seconds to go. Probably give it one last go because it does climb pretty quick, this one.
Yeah, with a move like this one, where you're really just trying to learn the movement, you're going to be giving lots of attempts. And she's certainly got enough time to finish this move, just whether or not she'll have enough energy is the real question.
Here she goes. Body's a little bit out from the wall.
Yeah, she kind of left her body behind. She sort of threw forward with her arms, but the rest of her was lagging behind, and so she wasn't going to have enough momentum to continue through the move after catching the first hold.
All right, well, there we go, folks. Louis flashing that one and really throwing down an early challenge to the rest. He seems like he's dropped into another gear so far, but like you said, Campbell, still plenty of climbing and competing to go. Got our next athletes out on the mats now, though. Got Dylan and Claire.
They're certainly looking like one to beat, but you never know what can happen between now and the end of the round. Claire Sheffings and Dylan Parks stepping onto the field. A couple of little slips off the first move from them so far.
Nailing that now. Makes the zone pretty quick. Second go. Let's see if she can get this coordination move down pat.
This is the kind of boulder I would expect Claire to quite like. She really likes those company coordination moves. And Dylan performs quite well on slab as well. I don't know if it's necessarily his favorite style, but he's usually quite proficient at slab climbing.
It's taken a little bit of time to get established in this first move. Maybe he hasn't worked out what he wants to do just yet. That's quite a high step there, but underway now. Let's see if he can find a way across these volumes. Claire making the first zone move pretty quickly now. She's got it dialed in the nervous system. She's matching there. Maybe this might be
Matching that zone hold.
Yeah.
I can see why she would want to do that, but I think by matching it, you're really kind of not getting as much from either hand as you might like. Yeah, I think you kind of just have to commit to that one-arm swing, and that's why it's super important, even in the age of really new school movement, to have rock solid finger strength is still probably the most important factor of competition climbing. If you can't hold the holds, there's no way you're going to be able to move off of them in any sort of coordinated way. So, but yeah, Claire's definitely not an athlete who's lacking in finger strength. It's just whether or not she's going to sort of trust in her ability to hold that hold.
See if she can make that work. Well, men's number 3 is certainly, I would call it an old school throwback to crimping, but Claire right now matching again. Let's see if that might work for her. It's, yeah, like you said, it's just not getting her close enough to those holds to keep the momentum going left. All right, Dylan.
Yeah, Dylan
really not feeling comfortable.
Like
looking comfortable there, is he?
No, the high step looked like it was pretty marginal the first time round. He's able to make it work, and then now it's a little tricky again. I know Dylan's certainly the kind of climber who can get a little bit nervous in these sorts of high pressure rounds. He has a lot of potential, and definitely carries a lot of that expectation with him when he climbs. But when he's switched on, he is really an exceptional climber. So hopefully he can sort of calm down and recenter and have a good attempt to finish off this slab.
Well, certainly, folks, I gave those volumes a bit of an inspection prior to the competition, and there's not a lot there to stand on. So certainly being able to trust those feet and get enough rubber on the volume is certainly something that is quite difficult. You can see
absolutely, and the volumes are going to get a little bit worse kind of as the round goes by with every subsequent athlete that tries the boulder. One last go for Claire, but again, not quite generating enough swing from the zone to be able to carry her body the whole way through the movement. Looks like she's kind of relying on catching that first hold and pulling through, but you're not really able to catch that first hold with enough stability to do that. So whichever athlete we see finishing off this boulder, I think is going to really huck themselves all the way over to the left.
All right, Marlo out now with Judith. And let's see how they work out these two boulder problems. Judith a little bit taller, so maybe depending on her ability to create some momentum might get a little bit closer to those holds. But again, like you said, Campbell, different body styles and shapes can be advantages and disadvantages. But Judith doing that move statically, so that helps. Marlo very quickly.
Comfortable on the slab so far. Oh, Judith almost making me eat my words, catching that first hold.
Marlo looking very comfortable on the slab, just like it doesn't even matter. But let's see. Oh, very nice.
Yeah, no trouble there for Marlo at all. Easy flash. I think we're seeing quite a juxtaposition between the two rounds here. It's in the women, obviously Maya Stazic topped that first boulder, kind of setting herself apart, but for the most part, for the rest of the women, it's quite a close game. Whereas in the men, we're really seeing Marlo and Louis kind of set themselves apart from the field.
Ooh, Judith being able to span between those two and maybe slowing that move down for herself a little, maybe with that little bit of extra reach, might make it work. Now, that's almost there, Campbell. Do you stick with that and try and make that work, or do you move on and try another sequence or try another beta?
I mean, that's the game, isn't it? I guess she's the only one who's really going to know how it feels. Sometimes it can look close to the spectator's eye, but then for the athlete, you have a very strong feeling that it's not going to happen. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see her try to stick that again in the same manner. No, but quite close to carrying all the way through. I think by trying to stick that first hold, she was able to get a better idea of exactly what that swing needed to feel like. And she's a little bit more confident to kind of go through the whole move. Enough time left to be able to hopefully finish off this boulder, I think.
2 minutes would be plenty of time to get a top. It does climb quite fast, but again, it's probably one of those boulder problems where you have to give it a few whirls to really dial it into the body. But Judith looking quite good there. Getting quite good height as well on that attempt.
Yeah, again, she's kind of leaving herself behind a little bit. Like the swing is really good initially. She catches that first hold, and then she's leading the movement with her arms, but dragging her kind of center of gravity behind. She's not really committing to bringing her chest the whole way over to where it needs to be at the end of the movement. She's kind of aiming for that middle point. So I think she's just got to give it that little bit more if she wants to finish it off.
Yeah, it looks like if she does catch those those last two holes from the top, that should be done and dusted. But it's easy to say that sitting in a comfortable chair. Different for Judith up there on the wall right now. There's quite a lot of physicality in that right arm almost to slow and swing. Not only does she need to catch with the right arm, but then latch with the left, and that needs a fair bit of shoulder and bicep strength. Slowed that one down a little bit then, I think, and that did happen a little bit, not to be. 15 seconds, not enough to do another attempt here. Judith taking away the zone. And again, seeing mostly zones for the women.
Yeah, it was definitely the closest we've seen any of the women come to topping that boulder. But in bouldering, close really isn't enough. It's a top, or it's a zone, or it's nothing. So still, being able to establish that zone is keeping her at least on par with the rest of the field with 2 zones in 2 attempts. She's in second at the moment behind Maya with our only top of the women's round. One top, 2 zones in 3 attempts. Just updated then. So she's still in that podium contention, but it's really close. Any of the athletes who manage to top a boulder are going to really set themselves apart. So it's all about really knuckling down and focusing and giving it everything, because every top is going to count for this comp.
Absolutely, well, it's all to play. Maxim and Summer out now, and Maxim looking good on the slab, that's for sure.
Max is also super good at slab. We had a training camp recently, and the slabs were really a walk in the park for him, and at last year's Oceania qualifier as well. The slabs often didn't give him much trouble at all, so he'll be hoping to score a top on this one and kind of bring himself back into the game alongside some of the other boys.
He looks pretty comfortable. Summer here getting a lot of momentum with her leg on that, and a little bit further to go for her.
Very stylish on the landing there from Summer. But yeah, I think I've heard Summer say that she fancies herself as a little bit more of a static climber. But she's also a climber, I think, who's quite proficient in new school movement, really good at slabs, so might come in handy on one of the later blocks as well. And Max, also making pretty light work of men's 2 in the end.
So that was on his second attempt for Max. So after very close on the first, making a reasonably quick top on the second attempt. Yep, 2 to the zone and 2 to the top. So once he got through that section, he was underway all the way to the top. Summer having to do a little bit more work on this first move to get to that first move compared to a couple of the other athletes who staticed it. Let's see if Summer can make enough momentum here.
Yeah, I think her lower body kicking off of that volume needs to be giving a little bit more, maybe. It's there's so many parts of this movement that you have to manage. It's like executing the choreography of a dance or something like that. There's so many things you have to think about all at once, and it's just those little details that are going to make the difference.
And with that sort of movement, Campbell, too, is at some point you just stop thinking and just get on with it. Sometimes it's good to think, all right, left foot, right foot, whatever that might be. But sometimes I suppose you just got to let the body and the mind go into autopilot and go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's it all happens so fast that, like I said before, you put in the work before the event, you make climbing these sorts of movements really instinctual, and then you can just trust yourself when it comes down to it.
Well, Summer has got the first move fairly dialed. Let's see if she can generate enough momentum here. Big kick that time. Straight back on. All right, let's see if she can adjust this kick. Ooh. All right, Summer's going for it. she's not mucking around. She thinks she might have it. Oh, well, the crowd enjoyed that anyway. Well done, Summer.
Yeah, good effort for Summer again, keeping herself in contention with a quick zone. That's going to be important as well. It's in a round like this where no one's scoring tops, falling behind in the zone could, at the end of the day, bump you down the rankings. So you want to try and, at a minimum, sort of keep up with the other competitors, so that when that boulder comes along that suits your style, you can make the most of it and really execute.
Absolutely. Well, we've got Maya and Aiden right now, and let's see if these guys can make that a little bit more, or put a little bit more daylight between them and the others in the pack. Maya, nice. Let's see if she can get this one dialed. That's a big cross through there.
Yeah, I'll be interested. Hopefully we can see Maya as our last athlete out finish off this boulder. It's certainly a boulder that suits her style. She really loves these new school coordination movements. She has a lot of international experience. She's participated in a number of World Cups, at the Oceania qualifier last year, and also at the Olympic qualifier series this year. So she had a few goes trying to score that last Olympic ticket. So she's definitely no stranger to this sort of high pressure situation. And there, easy peasy, and hopefully she's going to be able to finish off the boulder from here. No troubles at all. Top second place in there, top of the round.
Well done, Maya. And that was a big cross, really on the right there, and really stopped on those two holds there. Very powerful. So let's see if Aiden can get himself a top on the slab as well. He seemed to be struggling with the high step there. A few of the men seem to have sometimes a bit of challenges when it comes to hip flexibility and the high steps, Campbell.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, something on a slab like this with such sloping footholds, it's really, really important to be able to keep your heels low to give as much get as much coverage on the volume as you can with the rubber on your feet. But sometimes you can see here, as he tries to make the high step, just to get that little bit of extra height, he's lifting his heels,
yes,
which makes you more likely to slip off the volume because you have less coverage on that volume and inherently less friction. But able to make it through. And yeah, we'll see if he can finish off this next section. He's looking for any little screw hole that he might be able to take hold of, any little advantage he might find to finish it off and keep up with the rest of the field.
Yep, so he's certainly zoning in or tuning in or lasering in on those screw holes each along the way, and just a small amount of friction helps. Looks like we'll make a top here. Well done.
Yeah. Easy top from Aiden in the end of the day after a little bit of trouble with that first section. So he'll be keeping up a little better now. Better contention than he was after the first boulder, I think.
Well, he'll be happy with that. That's certainly good to get a couple of tops in the on the scoreboard. And we're rolling straight into, we're halfway through now, rolling straight into boulder number 3. Certainly, this is the back end of the competition now, folks. Maya very convincingly out in front, and arguably the other 5 competitors need to get a top right now if they want to stay anywhere in contention. But Maya looking very good at the moment. So
yeah, absolutely. I think the third boulder is always where it gets really interesting, especially in the case of the women's field. If Maya is able to top the third boulder, she's won. There's no one else can keep up with her if that's the case. In the men's, it's going to be a little bit more tight. But yeah, the third boulder is when you start to see Sam Lavender
he just
minting
crushed
his
that.
way up that. I think perhaps that boulder's not quite as powerful as the root setters expected, because he really didn't make much. He didn't look like he had to work too hard for that top at all, actually.
No. Well, I think he beta broke about 4 of the moves there on that one. He certainly made short work of that crimping section back to the old school. All right, let's see what Clear's got.
Always a risk setting crimps on a slab like that. Good first attempt for Clear. This is going to be one of those. This is going to be an attempt sapper for sure, figuring out exactly where the balance points are in that first move, whether to move quickly to the right to catch the zone, or if it's going to be a more slow and controlled balance across. She's getting really close to finding that balance point, but I think there's just going to be a few small adjustments that need to happen before she's really solid.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I saw the root setters trying this one out, and it'd be interesting to see if Clear does the root setter's intended beta. But let's see what she's got. Oh, that's nice. There you go. I think she's found the balance point there. And doesn't take a lot of effort, these moves, but like you said, Campbell, plenty of
and she was quite close to finding that balance point there as well. I think for a second I thought she had it, but this is going to be definitely a less tiring boulder. You can give this more attempts, which ultimately you need to. It's a movement that you have to learn and you have to perfect over the course of the 4 minutes. She's not going to lose any skin on her hands trying this boulder. She really can just resting enough to make sure she's still sort of calm and composed on every attempt, but she can kind of go ham at this boulder, and it's not going to be too detrimental going into the last block of the round.
Oh yeah, nice little bunny hop there, and made it work.
Okay. So super sheer volume, and exactly what I was saying before with Aiden, you've got to keep your heels super low, keep as much as your shoe rubber on the volume as you can, or it's going to slide right off. But she's found that little bunny hop sequence. And then hopefully, she's able to swap her feet, because she's definitely going to need her left foot on that little blue foot chip.
It's a long way to the zone, and then only a small move to the top. So again, like you said, lots of attempts on this one, and maybe not for the attempts much to gain from them unless you get right near the end. And come on, Clear.
And she's managed to catch this position, but whether or not she's going to be able to make the foot swap is the big question. Yep. So she's through, so hopefully she should be able to make her way through to the zone from here.
A lot of small blocked footholds. Now I don't know if she would have been given that a zone, but
that was a bit touch and go. You have to make use of the zone, so you have to be able to establish the zone and then change your body position to some capacity. The scoring of the zone can be quite complicated.
Clear.
Nice to see the women getting a slightly harder zone as well. It's going to help spread them out a little bit, because they are all quite tight. Apart from Maya Stasic, of course, with the only 2 tops of the round. All the other women are pretty neck and neck, so it's kind of anyone's game.
Well, certainly Sam Lavender making short work of that crimpy old school boulder there before. Campbell, I got some thoughts on that. Maybe I do know Sam has been quite instrumental in putting up some very hard outdoor sandstone crimpy style stuff in Queensland. Maybe that just suited him endlessly, and I wonder if some of the newer, younger climbers might not be as crimp ready. We shall see.
Yes, I mean, bottom line, Sam Lavender is super strong, and he's always been strong. I remember since he showed up in Youth B, he's climbed well. He is also a very versatile athlete. He performs really well in lead competitions, and lead climbers do tend to be quite good on these little crimps. First fall of the round from Louis so far, so nice to see him be a little bit more challenged. Like I said, third boulder is always when it starts to get a little bit interesting and things start to maybe change up, or even we start to see the winners of the round be really cemented. So we'll see if he's able to figure out this block as Sam was previously.
Pretty quickly, yep. Well, Rose finding that little foot sequence as well now. So, and that's the foothold is blocked, and it's also a dual text. You were talking about that before, Campbell. The top of it is slippery, folks. You can see it quite shiny there. There's no friction on top of that, or a lot less friction on top of those holds or footholds. And you can see it's blocked, and it has to be very delicate, very accurate with your feet. So it's all about the feet. Women's number 3, that's for sure.
When a hold is blocked in that manner, you're not really able to slide onto the top of it like we've seen her doing. You really have to be in a stable position where you can confidently place your foot very carefully and very precisely. So she's going to have to find that balance point before she's able to step over that hold on the right. She's taking that upper foothold, which is going to, again, allow her to adjust her feet and step on over, hopefully establish a zone. And we'll, see if we're able to see a top here from Rose.
She still hasn't used the zone effectively, you wouldn't think just yet, because the zone is actually I wonder if the yellow hold is connected to the volume, if it is a part of the zone. Probably not.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, because normally I think it is attached to the volume, so I think it is. We'll see.
Let's see if it comes up on the score.
Judges have interpreted it when the score comes through. But that, it's a tricky one there.
Louis finding the intended beta by the root setters a little bit difficult, and he's changing shoes, seeing if that'll help him. He obviously feels there's something that he needs a bit more advantage in some way, shape or form with the rubber or the shoe style. And Campbell, do you do that? Do you take a couple of different shoes out on the mat and change mid-boulder problem? Is that something you do, or do you just stick with the same
I do. I come out with a slightly stiffer shoe, and I also usually have a softer shoe in my bag with me. Softer shoes are going to be more proficient at standing on volumes. Like I said before, you want to get as much surface area of your shoe as possible. In this instance, I think he's looking for something with a little bit more solid of a heel to really lock into that little foothold that he's heel hooking. But yeah, different shoes are going to be more proficient at standing on different kinds of holds and performing different kinds of moves. So it's important to have at least a couple of options just in case the boulder sort of surprises you in different ways.
Well, Louis, he did make the zone on that one, but not a top. So that slowed Louis down a little, but
no, exactly. Went from a flash round for Louis to 2 tops, not quite finishing off that third boulder. So maybe leaving a gap open for the other boys to step in and overtake him.
Well, certainly Marlowe is in shooting distance here, that's for sure. So let's see what he can do when he's out. But right now we've got Dylan and Claire out on the mats, and see if they can work out a sequence that works for them on boulder number 3. Dylan looking pretty good. Oh, just campus the cribs. All right, and Claire straight up. No problem with the start of that slab. moving through pretty quickly.
Dylan, the only athlete in the men's final so far without a top to his name. So he'll be looking to try and gain a few extra points on the board. And Claire definitely keeping up with the rest of the field. This zone is going to be really useful. And if she's able to finish off this boulder on a subsequent attempt as well, that's going to put the pressure on for the other athletes. Really, time will tell. As I said before, if Maya Stazik is able to top this boulder, it's game over for the other girls. She'll have won the round. But yeah, until then, it's anyone's game, I guess.
Wow, look at Dylan here. Just that's the span is quite high, and it's actually sort of an inverted heel hook here. Actually, it's up above your head, and it's sort of you're climbing your heels back down on your arm, so you're lifting not only the rest of your shoulders and your body, but your leg is above you as well. So you're getting a bit of extra weight from your legs. So a few of the boys struggling with that move so far.
Yeah, really, really interesting sort of lock off. Quite tiring as well for a boulder that's, not too steep. Going to be using quite a lot of energy. Skin's going to be a factor after a few rounds of climbing, trying to take those small holds and feel confident and secure. Claire Sheffings again, no problems stepping through this zone. She's looking really solid on this slab so far. She'll be looking to bump her right hand up and bring her right foot over. Unfortunately, not able to quite find that balance point. Dylan Parks with a
that's Dylan making another wave.
Round.
Yep. I wonder if he'll go all the way to the top like Sam did. And made it work. Well, that's
no shortage of finger strength for Dylan Parks. So good to see him with his first top of the round.
Fantastic. He'll be very happy with that, of course. Anyone would be with a top, but it's nice for him to get one on the scoreboard. Now, let's see if Claire can make this final move work for her. Plenty of time, probably even for another attempt if she drops this one. So, crowd's holding their breath for Claire. I always sort of get sweaty hands even watching for the competitors. Just not finding the balance point there. There's it does change. You can just slightly see the angles change. It's a sort of a four-way angle change on the wall there, and ever so slightly trying to get her body around that small angle change. Obviously a little trickier than she wants it to be.
Yeah, she got a little bit sort of like over greedy with the right foot when she really needed to be shifting her weight over to the left so that she could as I said before, bump her hands up and get that right foot up. I think there's a little jib on that dual textured yellow hold that crosses over the wall in the volume.
Yep, little jib there down on the lower part of it. Now, there you go. Like you said, lean right back.
So she's going to take it nice and slow. Going to be really accurate for the
right on the buzzer too.
Provisional second place.
Buzzer beater.
Third boulder in the bank.
Oh, that's fantastic. Right on the buzzer. The crowd loved that one. There you go. Well done. All right. Well, we've got Judith and Marlo out on the mats. Now, Judith is a bit taller, so, maybe this might suit her. She certainly could do with a top.
Yeah, there could be parts of this boulder that maybe could suit her with her height, but I think at the end of the day, it's all about footwork and how proficient she's going to be through her feet, how well she's able to find those balance points. I know, she really likes a good slab, or whether she likes them or not, she's quite good at them. But yeah, potentially her height could come in handy once she establishes this first position, and she'll be able to rock over a little more confidently to that zone, perhaps.
Marlo doing the beta the intended way from the root setters, but let's see if he makes this top move a bit differently. Flashing it. Not yet, but now. That's the top.
With 3 tops, he's certainly putting himself as the one to beat in tonight's final. From not making a finals at nationals prior to this point to being very much in contention to win. It's really exciting to watch.
Certainly must have the timing has worked for him with his training and peaking right now. Let's see if Judith can make it work. Is that something you refine and concentrate on, Campbell? You know, peaking and dialing off your training to sort of peak for peak competitions. Is that something you fit dial?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, different athletes have different seasons and all peaking for different periods. I think particularly like someone like Dylan Parks, for instance, has had so many events this year, so it's not surprising to maybe not see him in his absolute best shape at the end of such a long season. Marlo, on the other hand, didn't have any international competitions from the top of my head, so he's had an opportunity to really train and peak specifically for this moment. So yeah, it's very different. You know, every athlete's going to be coming at this competition from a very different perspective and a different sort of priority level, given what they've done already in the year and what they might still have coming up.
And I'm sure the competition circuit can be reasonably grueling too. There's quite a lot of travel and changing time zones and not your own bed at home and not your own system. So, you know, there's all of that to deal with as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many factors, and you know, at the end of the day, you can't be in peak shape 100% of the time. There are definitely athletes who are just that much better than the rest of the field that they appear to be in peak shape, but it has to ebb, it has to flow, and there's definitely some athletes who are coming to this event quite fresh, and then others who are very much in need of a break and some time off. So we see those discrepancies, but yeah, at the end of the day, climbing competitions are all about how you're able to show up in this exact moment and how well you can perform under this pressure. So, you know, we really are seeing who's the best climber today on these boulders.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, Oceania Mackenzie has done amazingly this season as well. You know, got a bronze and a second in points in the World Cup. So, you know, we've got a few examples of, you know, how to put that together as well in the women's league with Osh.
Yeah, for sure. And I think this year, you know, some of the athletes who've been able to prove themselves internationally have kind of been able to take a break by not participating in nationals, which, you know, when a season can go from April all the way through to September or even longer, through to December or even longer, it's super important for, you know, athletes like Oceania Mackenzie to be able to take that step back, rest, recover, get the training that they need to do. Because, you know, the ultimate goal for an athlete of that caliber is to perform at an international level.
Absolutely. Well, Judith, only 5 seconds to go. Won't give it another attempt, but didn't get to the zone on this one, unfortunately.
No, not quite able to figure out that first sequence. I think, again, body sort of dragging behind a little bit, not establishing her center of gravity over the top of her feet. And ultimately not quite able to piece that sequence together. We still yet to see Claire Sheffing's top updated on the scoreboard, but that should come through soon, hopefully. I didn't really see any reason for appeal on that block, but we'll wait and see.
Well, now we've got Maxim and Summer out on the wall, and arguably Maximum needs a top on this one to stay in contention. A little bit more reach, making that move maybe a bit easier for Max. Let's see if he can get himself in this position here. Seems like most of the athletes have skipped that hold on the left, but Max looking to use it.
Yeah, this is I think the first time we've seen an athlete grab that hold and able to make it work. It looks maybe not quite as solid, honestly, but yeah. Good top for Max there. This boulder seems to be a little bit of a puzzle, and then once you figure it out, it all just sort of comes together.
One of those ones when you're on there, it feels straightforward, but when you're looking at it, it's not. But Summer doing quite well as well. I think this is still her first attempt.
Yeah, super strong slab climber for sure. She's really, really good at this style of boulder.
to just adjust her hand a little bit for this move, get in position. She's got the zone, so that makes sense. This foot move looking great so far. Like I said, don't rush it. Oh, very nice.
And the top from Fraser.
That was a great shot from the Canberra team. You could see her focusing and concentrating on that top. Happy to put that one in the bank. All right, and Aiden and Maya straight out. This is where Maya can shut the door, like you said, Campbell, and arguably she'd have to sort of knock at a zone and not get any zones and not get any tops from here on. So you would think that would be highly unlikely, but plenty of different things happen in competitions.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, if we see a real upset from Maya, but she looks really focused, I think she's got her sights set on topping this one out. And again, if she's able to top this boulder in any number of attempts, she's taken the national and the Oceanic title home with her tonight.
All right, Aiden looking quite strong on those early couple of crimps. Nice, very solid. Let's see how he does this top move, if he matches and goes straight up or goes out to the left.
My second attempt, Maya's making her way through. She's got the zone. And
Aiden dropping the top.
Fight for both athletes. Yeah, as I said before, Aiden had quite a significant finger injury late in last year's season. So crimps can be, a little bit spooky. Obviously, he's put in the work to make sure that his fingers are ready to take on anything. But I know that can definitely play on his mind. He doesn't want to risk, in his training at least, he hasn't wanted to risk that sort of re-injury, and he has to be careful about this sort of thing. Could potentially be in his mind on the on a crimpy boulder like this.
And that final crimp is quite tiny as well. So yeah, he did look a little tentative on that last one, but he's been to the top already, so he's resting up. Maya a little bit perplexed, but like I said, Campbell, this type of boulder problem is the one you've just got to do a few times. You've got to get it in your body. It's all on the feet and not on the fingers. So Maya can have plenty of attempts on it and not really wear herself out too much, nor her finger skin out either. All right, Aiden up.
Maya, both athletes setting up for the final sequences. Maybe they'll put that last move together, no problems there. Maya's also looking quite solid again. We'll see if she's able to figure this boulder out and score herself her third top and her third consecutive national title.
Just not confident, and just seems that the athletes need to have their right hand a bit further, a bit lower down on that volume rather than high. It seems the high doesn't seem to be that useful. Maya not really working that part out just yet.
Yeah, she's not quite figuring out that sequence exactly. I think she got her right palm down on the foothold, but then she wasn't really going to be able to go anywhere with that, so she had to kind of readjust, reset, make her way back over, try to lean over to the left as much as possible to be able to adjust her right foot, and then stand up for the last hold. I said before, if Maya tops this boulder, she's won. If she doesn't top this boulder, it's still very much in contention. If she's able to top the fourth boulder, then it's also game over. She's won. She just needs one more top on either this boulder or the next to be able to win the comp.
Well, she's been within one move of the top on this one already, so let's see if she can make it work. She's got the volume a bit high as well, so trying that move again just doesn't seem to...
Really not confident in trusting that left foot. It's, as we said, it's quite a small hold. There's a very, very small patch of texture that she's able to get any traction on.
20 seconds. Let's see if the buzzer adrenaline might help her out. And sometimes, when you've done it a few times, just not overthinking it works fine. Now she's got to collect herself and go out the back and get herself ready, Campbell. in that sort of circumstance, what do you do? To prepare for the final one.
It looks like our scores are a little bit behind, and we're seeing the same thing on the IFSC page. So we don't see Claire Sheffing's top just yet, and we're not seeing Maya Stazik's zone either. So just keep in mind that sometimes that takes a little bit to update. So the standings that we're seeing aren't. Here we go. So we're seeing some updates coming through now. So Claire Sheffing's in second place. Maya Stazik will be remaining in first with 2 tops, 3 zones. And it's all going to come down to this last boulder ultimately, which is, it's cool to see the comp kind of get decided on boulder 3, but it's more exciting to see that tension carry on through the rest of the round.
I think it's a great one for the crowd, that's for sure, and anyone who's watching. But certainly athletes probably, always nervous with the tension of the final boulder problem, but it does make for a good competition. So we're moving on to our final boulder problem, folks. And Sam out here.
And all very tight in the men still, so it's almost anyone's game, depending on how this last boulder goes down.
Well, I've seen Sam do some pretty amazing stuff with dynamic boulder problems. So if I was a betting man, I'd probably give him some good odds on this one. But let's see.
That honestly, it looked like a cakewalk up until the last move. So, hopefully he can rest, recover, and finish that one off. But it really didn't look like it was giving him much trouble up until then.
No. Well, I did see the route setters, feverishly rubbing those last 2 holds with a bit of sandpaper to take a little bit more of the grip off. So maybe that shows up right there on that last move for Sam. But I'm sure he'll refocus for another attempt or 2. Clear is in the steep section of the wall, and if the camera pans here in a little bit, you'll see how steep it is. It's quite overhung.
Yeah, for the women, we've definitely got their sort of power test piece of the round. They've had their slab and their coordination, and then this one's all just how hard can you pull on steep overhanging terrain.
With not so great edges either. That's a big compression move there in the roof out of that sort of dishy section.
Yeah, you have to be quite quick, quite precise. It's just as much about executing and climbing efficiently as it is about how strong you are, how hard you can pull. The men's boulder, definitely a little bit of a different sort of pace. A little bit of a coordination start, and then a tricky upper body coordination move to finish it off. And
Sam
making,
let's see,
almost making light work. There we go, and a pop down right away.
Well done, Sam. The crowd like that one.
So with 3 tops and 4 zones, that's going to put Sam in a provisional first place. However, that can very much change as the other athletes attempt this last block.
Yeah, well, there you go. And so is Louis. Louis in shooting distance if he flashes, I think. But Clear back on the wall. This is quite a powerful move, that one there, and really in steep territory for the women.
Yeah, Marlo could potentially win with just a zone if Louis is able to top the boulder quickly. He has the potential of taking the win as well. I think Max could also potentially take out the spot. It's really anyone's game at this point. And
there you go.
I think Aiden as well, all depending on how the other athletes perform.
Well, it's come down to the wire, folks. But right now we've got Clear up there and seems to be powering out a little. 30 seconds, that's enough for Clear. And she's left it all on the wall today, folks. There you go, bleeding. And you can't, if you do bleed on the wall, Campbell, you have to stop, and it has to be clean. So, folks, if you're an athlete, you have to make sure that that doesn't happen.
You do, yeah. Often you'll see athletes judges will perform like a dab test or a tissue test. So they'll press a clean tissue against your fingertips, and if any red comes away on the tissue, then you have to tape. You'll perform the test again. So yeah, very simple, but yeah, you can't go onto the wall if you're bleeding. If you're on the wall and you start bleeding, you can finish your attempt, but then you'll have to stop yourself from bleeding before you'll be able to continue on again, and then the boulder will ultimately need to be cleaned. So hopefully we don't see any of that pausing our competition now, but it is something to keep in mind. These athletes have climbed quite a lot of boulders. They've had to warm up for 3 separate rounds, and it definitely takes its toll on the skin over the course of that time.
Absolutely. Well, Louis on the wall, and he's certainly within shooting distance. He's got 3 attempts to the top, or 2 attempts to the top. But don't listen to me, folks. The judges are the final deciders on this one. But we'll see if Louis can make this work. Not seeming to get that first move in the system just yet.
With how quickly Sam was able to finish off this last boulder, I think that, yeah, topping, if you want to be in contention for a win or for a podium, I think it's going to be super important to match Sam and finish it off as well.
Nice and quick. All right. Rose. Louis making that work now. He's found a sequence that works for him. Rose not really getting her mojo on just yet. Louis still finding it a little bit challenging in this section, but he's making progress.
So we'll see. Louis scored the zone. Again, just shy of that top. So it'll take some time to reset, reevaluate, and hopefully put in 1 or 2 more attempts for that boulder.
Yeah, the women's zone is in a pretty tough situation as well. You've got to make that sort of double clutch tension move out on the roof there to make the zone. So it's not an easy, it's not a gimme, that's for sure. Nor is the male zone either, but certainly a bit of a crowd pleaser on both of these at the end. A little bit physical as well as gymnastic to finish off the competition. Now Louis making those moves. I think it was just a quick foot slip there. Rose, maybe, I don't know if she would be awarded that, but certainly has got the idea
yet,
of pretty...
I think, she's very much capable of this sequence if she's able to. I would say she was able to make use of the zone on that attempt. Obviously, it's the judge's call, but she was able to, while holding the hold, kind of change her body position. She made use of it to then progress towards the next hold. So, we'll wait and see what comes through as the scores update.
Now, Louis looking a little bit tired there before, obviously after 2 days of bouldering and very physical boulder problems. You would imagine maybe somewhere creeping in a little bit of tiredness with the athletes. But this is the last boulder problem, so, I'm sure the rhetoric inside his own talk would be, it's now or nothing. It's all to play for Louis.
Yeah, there'd be so much fatigue for these athletes, and particularly for the women. This is a brutal final boulder to end a big weekend of climbing competitions, especially after this morning's round as well. These women would be absolutely exhausted, and to have to finish off with such a powerful, skin-intensive block is a big ask.
Well, Louis made the zone. No top for Louis. I don't know where that puts him, though. Very, very physical. Puts Louis in third, I think, at this moment in time.
Yeah,
2 tops, 4 zones.
This is scores update.
Got Dylan and Claire out on the... Yep, Louis at the moment, folks, in provisional third, and we've still got plenty of climbers to come, though. So it's certainly not in stone, that's for sure. But here we go. Dylan and Claire, their last boulder problems, and I'm sure they'd both like to get some extra points on the board for their competition. Dylan making that first move look very smooth.
Dylan, unfortunately, being a zone behind the other guys, can't make his way onto the podium, but he can ultimately score himself a better finish. Another thing, because this is a continental championship, there are IFSC world ranking points up for grabs here as well, which, especially in bouldering, are quite useful in establishing a higher start position in the World Cups.
Yep.
So, you know, whether it's podium or not, every place definitely counts at this event.
And you were saying, so some of these points go towards the Australian team as well. So that's so important as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The way the team is selected this year, it's a consideration of many different events. Making the podium here is super significant in terms of selection, but just putting in a good showing across the round will get you access to further selection events and further training camps. So yeah, you want to be able to show the best that you can and give yourself, the best chance possible to be representing Australia internationally next year.
Nice. Dylan doing a little bit differently, a little bit static maneuver there rather than the dynamic thing, and making it work, which is awesome. Still plenty to do at the top of this boulder problem, though. Making that move a little bit easier.
Claire looking for a little bit of a fist jam there on the women's block. Don't think it quite made it work, but and a foot first sequence as well. So she's kind of pulling out all the stops to try and figure out a creative solution to an otherwise very physical power boulder.
Dylan there also making more progress on that attempt, getting within touching distance of the final hold. But again, like we saw with Sam, it's still not over until that top hold is matched, and there's still plenty of climbing to do, even if you do get the double clutch at the top there. Certainly not a jug. Dylan calling it a day. Give it a bit more of a whirl. And we've got the athletes, once they're finished, they can sit and watch the final competitors as they come out, which is always awesome. It's nice to see a bit of the competition when you're in isolation for hours on end. A few last boulder problems is always nice.
You see so very little climbing when you're competing in these events. So even just a couple of boulders at the very end, it's really nice to be able to watch. And everyone at these events are generally pretty good friends, and it's nice to watch each other and cheer each other on, and just sort of soak up the atmosphere a little bit after what was otherwise, a very, very intense couple of days.
Absolutely. Well, Claire certainly not going to leave any second guessing on the mats. She's going to take up all the time she can, and she's done. Yep. You can see by the tape on her, and sharing with Claire.
I think she'll ultimately be very, very proud of this performance. I think this is such a breakout for her in her career. And she's very young, so it's really exciting to see what she's going to be able to do. Coming off the back of this performance and with that added confidence, it's really exciting.
Absolutely.
I'm personally very excited to see what happens in this round here. Marlo has set himself up super well to potentially take the win if he's able to top in any number of attempts. He'll be guaranteed first place. I think if he's able to score the zone, he could potentially also win depending on the attempts of some of the other athletes as well.
Well, I've seen him in a few competitions, and he quite likes this dynamic style of climbing, quite powerful in that way. So maybe this boulder problem may suit him, but not finding the flash going his way. But again, I'm sure he'll have plenty of attempts due to trying to make make a few ideas work in this powerful boulder problem for the women as well.
Using the most of whatever she's got left after such a big weekend.
Yeah.
Marlowe's hopefully going to figure out a little bit more solid of a no. So yeah, still quite dynamic. He hasn't spotted that static method that we saw some of the other boys figure out. And with every time he catches and slides down that left hand, he's going to be losing skin. There's going to be more sweat seeping through, potentially blood, in which case he'll have to tape, and there's going to be considerably less friction from the tape than he'll get from his own skin. So every attempt is really contributing to whether or not he's going to be able to finish off this block.
Now, would you think he would know that he has to top this to win? Oh, makes that move work now.
I think he would know certainly that if he's able to finish this boulder, he's our 2024 national champion. I think there's quite a move ahead of him if he's gonna be able to finish this off.
He's trying to do it statically.
I think he needed to commit to a sequence quickly. It was very obvious that he started to fatigue quite quickly once he was playing around in that position.
Well, you would think that he'd need to rest a little bit to give it one good go. So maybe there's only one good shot in it for him now. But Judith, hopefully she's got one or two good shots in this one.
Judith is back on the wall. We've seen her struggle a little bit so far with this boulder. And I honestly can't blame her. She must be super exhausted after everything, but still smiling, still giving it her all.
It's always great to see the athletes always, even in the middle of it all, having a bit of fun and enjoying the atmosphere. Do you stop, Campbell? Did you stop at the Olympics and soak it all in? I always wonder that with the focus you need in the competition. Do you take a moment?
Certainly once the round is over, I think a highlight for me of Paris was taking it in once the competition was done.
Yeah.
I'm sure that this is one of those moments where she's just going to, soak it all in, they've all come a long way over to Perth to try and, battle it out for the title, and just making it to finals is such an achievement in and of itself.
Yes.
So I'm sure that they'll be, taking in everything that this means and proud of themselves for where they've gotten.
Absolutely. Well, it's all down to maybe this last attempt here for Marlowe. Judith also not going to leave anything undone on the mats. Let's see if the buzzer beater energy helps Marlowe up the wall here.
He's going to just have to try and execute this really fast. And yeah, I think that left foot slipped, and he fell just that little bit short. Quite a good attempt from Judith there in that last moment. That was cool. I'm not sure that she'll be scored for the zone. We'll have to wait and see. But it's still anyone's game at this point.
But Max and Aiden certainly can. Certainly Max has got enough attempts for tops to give it a crack. I think if he does it, if he flashes, I think. Yeah, 3 tops to 4 tops. If he flashes the zone and the top, then he can have a win. I think it's only one go, so big pressure for Max.
Yeah, that's intense for sure. Although he does have, I think he's got 2 attempts because his attempts for zones are a little bit faster than Marlowe.
All right, well, Max.
Oh no, I'm wrong. Sorry, you were right. Yeah, he's got a flash.
Looking good so far. Oh no.
Summer, however, is guaranteed a podium at this point, and depending on how she's able to perform on this boulder is going to dictate what colour that medal is going to be.
Max, he got to that top point, like you said, didn't commit to a sequence early, tried a few different ones and powered out a little bit. You've got to probably get to that those final couple of holes and just go for it by the look of it. And it's good to see that Summer is getting some reward for her competition. So Max not within contention as far as we can see now, unless there's some appeals a bit later on, which there sometimes is, folks. But certainly Max flashed the zone, so that will move him up, you would think, in zone attempts.
If he's able to finish the boulder, he could put himself on the podium potentially, but I think he's definitely lost out on first place, and I think the app hasn't quite updated yet, but he might have also lost out on second. But he's still in with a chance for taking home a bronze medal and matching his performance from last year's event.
I'm sure he'd like to do that for sure. So he's been close to the top. I wonder which sequence he'll commit to this time. We'll see. Probably only in about 10 or 20 seconds. Max should make this bottom section fairly quickly happen again. Summer also pulling
big
up
span.
into
He's
the roof.
able to make that move through the zone quite easy, quite solid. And again, same as we saw with Marlowe, that left foot slips and he just loses the height necessary to nab the last hold. Summer's going to move into the zone, so she's got the zone now, which will put her into second place. But she's going to need a top if she wants to potentially try and take first place from Maya Stazik, I think.
Well, both of them, if they can pull out a top, can progress in their podium positions. The last 40 seconds of their competition. Let's see if they've got something left in the tank, folks. Summer found a different sequence here than a few of the other competitors. Max, not to be for Summer. All right, Max knows what he's got to do. Let's see if he can get that high and keep that left foot.
And we saw the match was tough for Sam before, so we'll see if he's able to keep his cool and find the match of the last hold before the buzzer goes off. Oh no! Oh, that was a heartbreaker.
Oh, Max. Oh, there you go. Both Summer and Max giving it all they could, right to the end, right to the buzzer. And I don't think Max will be awarded that top.
So I think that'll see Max just shy of a podium provisionally, and Summer will maintain second place at the moment.
All right, well, Aiden within shooting distance of a bronze if he can get a top. Campbell, let's see what he's got. Maya already in position, so this is climbing for posterity or just making sure she finishes off the competition in style. Looking quite solid so far.
Yeah, so far so good for Maya Stazik. Not sure if she's established the zone just yet, but yeah, she kind of missed the zone as she went for that little compression catch. But you know, she made pretty light work with the first few moves, so if she's able to keep her cool and rest long enough, I think she should have enough in the tank to hopefully go for a second attempt, or at least to stick that zone solidly.
Yep. All right, Aiden making that first move now, getting over into this section where we know it's not over until virtually the last hole. Let's see. Ooh. Going for a different method, using his leg for a bit of momentum.
Yeah, quite a different method on that sequence there. Yeah, I think it has its advantages and disadvantages. Certainly, the foot hold is more secure, but I think it's quite hard to generate enough force to bring the left side of your body to get the height on that left side of your body.
Yep.
Yes, we'll see if he's able to piece that together, or maybe if he'll try an alternate sequence.
Well, Maya as well needs to see if she can get that zone locked away as well. Just sticking with that original sequence, but maybe she'll change gears here and try something a little different. Got a bit of time. 2 minutes is still plenty for a few attempts, and off she goes quite quickly now. I wonder if she'll drop in and try and make this.
She has won the event, so she's kind of just playing for fun at this stage. But I know she'll want to finish off at the top. She has very high expectations of herself, so yeah, she'll want this one pretty bad.
Nearly making that double clutch work. So Aiden back up on the wall. The first move in the nervous system now. Let's see if he sticks with his method. The left leg generating.
Oh, and is he going to be able to finish off this match? We've already seen one outbreak.
Aiden making the top on the last boulder problem, and I think that will have moved him into third position.
Yeah, I think so. After the confirmation on the number of attempts,
and Maya using the crowd's energy and the top energy to get herself through that section.
High point on boulder 4 from Maya.
Let's see it. We'd love a double top.
One more move between her and the top.
Yes! Fantastic. Well, that's the crowd.
Fantastic work from our final climbers. Really exciting to see Maya finish off the top with the top.
Yep, the Sen train energy right there. This is fantastic. What a great way to finish. Fantastic. Well, there you go, folks. The competition, the climbing part of the competition is done and dusted. The crowd really enjoying what all the competitors have shown us today, that's for sure. Now, what happens now? This is provisional finishing places. Maya with 3 tops, which is fantastic. Quite a convincing win. Summer and Claire coming in second and third. Rose, Claire and Judith absolutely showing up very respectfully. All of them should be very proud and happy with making it to the finals, but only 3 can stand on the podium. And at this moment in time, on the males, it's Marlo, Sam and Aiden.
So we'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, the Whadjuk people of the Nunyard Nation. I also like to pay my respect to the elders past and present and emerging. So on behalf of SCA, I want to say a few thank yous because, these events are difficult, complex, lots of people are getting involved, so it's worth saying a few thanks. So thank you to the Department of Local Government and Sport and Culture, DLGSC, that's a mouthful. We got a grant from them to help fund this event. So thanks to these guys. And this is the first time we run an international event for climbing in WA. So not the first one, but not the last one, but the first one. So we're working very hard in Perth with the team to bring events, World Cup, in the next 2 years, watch this space, World Championships, World Cups in Perth. Big thank yous to the host facility, Portside, Osborne Park, for hosting this event. Thank you, Pip and Ferdy are here and all the staff. It's a great facility, it's unique design, lots of holes, great place to actually visualize all the athletes, so thank you, really super good. Thanks to all the staff, Maggie and the team there in the back for being here every day of the week. Thank you very much. Not possible without you. 3 countries were represented this weekend. Australia as the host country. New Zealand, always excited to get you guys in this competition. Strong competition. And Guam, who actually came and did a trip for here. Thanks for coming, guys. Recently added to the IFSC family. Our sponsors, again, DLGSC, the government, for the grant funding. Stacks, climbing these beautiful white holes behind you are actually designed and made in Perth by the team here, owned by Portside, the red ones as well. Thank you to the IFSC Council. I don't know if Naomi is still here. We're lucky here because Australia actually has 1 representative in the IFSC International Board who's an Australian, so helping us push our things through. So we're really lucky to have these people. Welcome to Jamie. Can I get the JPs, the head judge, so Susan, Jamie, Please, Paige. Come here, come in front, please. So we got Paige, a very experienced JP from Queensland, from New South Wales. Jamie's coming from China. Susan from New South Wales. They run the show. A big thanks to John. Where's John? John, please, our admin operations extraordinaire. Stay here, please. Come. Who does everything behind Gerard, who helped us with the scoring. If you're still here, please come and show your face. Thanks to Mercedes, who really run everything behind the scenes, scoring everything around this event. Nothing would happen without her. So big thanks to this. Positive Media, all the guys running around with the cameras all week and the streamings over there. They're giving us a really good deal on this. Deanne and Dave, photographs for this event. Thank you so much. Happy birthday to Deanna here and to John. So, thank you. Happy birthday to you guys. Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah. All right. All right. Can I get the road setters here, please? So Thomas and your team, can you please come and confirm? Can we say hi? Yossi. We got Travis from New Zealand. We got Amanda. We got Alistair, Thomas, and Yossi. There you go. Thank you. Thomas is from Poland. Came here to assess our guys, so we can be out of it. So these great boulders from these people here. So, and Travis, yeah. Where's Travis? Oh. Travis is somewhere there. Here, there you go. All right, cool. And this is your team, everyone. Take some photos. Yeah, please. All right, off to the ranking now. So we're gonna do 2 podiums today. Where's the podium sheet? Thank you. So there's a podium for Oceania and a podium for Nationals. Lucky for you, it's the same podium. But we'll do 2 medals. So we'll ask the girls first. In 3rd place, Claire Sheffings. In 2nd place, Summer Fraser. And in 1st place, Maya. So this is the Nationals medals. You girls stay there. And now for the Nationals, in 3rd place, we get Claire Sheffings from Victoria. And we got Summer Fraser from New South Wales. And Maya Stasiuk from Victoria. Thank you, crowd. You're very nice. Thank you. Yeah, that's the Oceania Continental medals. All right. Thank you, girls. Do you have the pictures? All right, cool. All right. Thank you. And now from the man, in 3rd place from WA, Aiden Yadav. Represent. In 2nd place, Sam Lavender from Queensland. And in 1st place, Malo Gili Edu from Queensland. And that is the Nationals podium. And now, yeah, thank you. And for the Oceania podium, in 3rd place, Aiden. In 2nd place, Sam. And in 1st place, Malo. And these are the podium for the Continental Oceania 2024 Boulder event.